Hey everyone, what's going on? In this video, I'm going to talk about a few things. First, I'm going to talk about the gematria that is coded to the death of Shannon Hoon, who was the lead singer of the band Blind Melon, who supposedly overdosed in 1995. And his death is synced up to the song No Rain, probably their most famous song, and also to this B-girl who, is famous for this video of No Rain as well. The B-girl, the song No Rain. If you're new to the channel and you don't understand what gematria is, I'll leave a link, or I'll leave multiple links in the description, and it explains it a lot better. But basically, it's the practice of coding numbers into words and phrases, such as A is the first letter, so A equals 1, B the second letter, B equals 2, C the third, and so on. So my name is Dan, so you would take D equals 4, so 4 plus A is 1, so 4 plus 1, and then N is the 14th letter, right? So 4 plus 1 plus 14, that equals 19. Dan equals 19. And if you apply this knowledge for yourself, you'll see how every single day our mainstream media articles are coded this way, our sports leagues are scripted this way, our told history is scripted this way, and you'll find a ton of amazing things that are synced up in your own life, because I truly believe we live in some type of coded world, and there are people in this world who understand this knowledge, and they use this knowledge to their advantage, and they use it to rule over, the average people in this world. The people just like me and you. So, check out the links in the description. But anyway, let's look at this story here. So, the reason I even looked into this too was because my friend Sam had made a blog post, and he told me to check it out or whatever, and I went and checked it out. And I just added some more, so I'll leave a link to his blog post as well in the description. But he was looking at musicians who died at the age of 28, kind of a 28 club. And he just kind of looked at a few of them on his blog, and he noticed some interesting connections. And what I noticed was this lead singer of Blind Melon, he died 68 days after the final album that he did with Blind Melon. It was called Soup, and it came out on August 15th, 1995. And he died on October 21st, 1995. So if you go from August 15th to October 21st, it's a span of 68 days. And notice his real name is Richard Hoon. Richard Hoon. And in gematria, type it out here, Richard Hoon equals 68 the small way. And I'll also leave a link to this gematria calculator as well, so you can come here and you don't have to do the math in your head. It does it all for you. But Richard Hoon, 68, he dies 68 days after his last album was released. Notice too, it's called Soup, and they're eating alphabet soup, right? Just interesting, because I'm talking about gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words and letters and everything else, But 68, if you write out 68 as words, it equals 56, and he was mostly known as Shannon Hoon, right? Or however you pronounce that. Shannon Hoon equals 56. So 68 even has a connection to what most people know him by. And I looked up the song No Rain, and the single No Rain just so happened to come out on June 8th, 6/8 of 1993. And I noticed it's 3 minutes and 37 seconds in length. And if you know prime numbers, 337 just so happens to be the 68th prime number. So his name equaled 68. He died 68 days after the final album. And then the song No Rain, the single, came out on 6/8, and the length even has a connection to the number 68. Also, I looked up the B-girl then, the B-girl who's famous for that video, and her name is Heather DeLoach, And if you notice, her name in gematria equals 68. We'll type it out here. Heather DeLoach. 68. So a big time connection to the death of the lead singer of Blind Melon. Sam also pointed out in his blog post, he talked about the lead singer of Sublime, Bradley Noel, and I noticed that he was born in the year 68, and he also died at age 28. That was the point of the blog post. But his name in gematria, Bradley Noel, also equals 68. Let's type it out for you. 68. So, and, he died, I believe, 7 months, 4 days after Shannon Hoon as well, which is interesting. That's a really big number in regards to all of this. Even what I'm talking about, gematria equals 74, just like Jesus, cross, Messiah, gospel, Lucifer, Joshua, Muhammad, just tons of stuff. English, that's why our nation's independence is 7/4. Independence Day equals 74. Masonic equals 74. People high up in Freemasonry are the people who understand this knowledge and are using it against us. Anyway, I also pointed out 28 Club equals 68 in gematria, which is just interesting because that was what his whole blog post was all about, the 28 Club, right? And if you write out 28 Club, that equals 68. The few people that he documented had a connection to 68. I also pointed out in regards to the Bee Girl that Shannon Hoon died 103 days before the Bee Girl's 13th birthday, which is interesting because in numerology you don't use the 0, right? So it's a lot like a 13. He died 103 days before her 13th birthday. And the day that he died, October 21st, if you write that out in gematria, that equals 103. And he supposedly died from an overdose. Overdose equals 103. So perfect day to die from an overdose. 103 days before the Bee Girl's birthday. Also, this is the type of stuff I talk about all the time. Wikipedia, for whatever the reason, there's always people on here changing stuff that doesn't even really seem to make sense why they would be on here changing it. And if you go and change something, they instantly change it back because it seems that Wikipedia is some type of narrative that they use. They change it just before they bring something like this up in the media, so when people go look at it, they write in just the dumbest thing ever, like their cat named Fifi died when they were age 7, or something that's just really irrelevant that's going on. But I noticed that Sam made this blog post on December 27th, and when I went to the Wikipedia, it said that, of Shannon Hoon, it said that he died at the age of 28, but it had his birthday of 1967 and then his death day of 1994. And I was like, well, that wouldn't make him 28 years old. And then I looked at the history and I noticed that on December 28th, the day after Sam made this blog post, somebody went on Wikipedia and changed that to 1994 for some reason, and then they changed it back. But I mean, just think about it. This guy died in 1995. Like, you would think that pretty much everything written on his Wikipedia page by now would be pretty set in stone, wouldn't it? You wouldn't really need to go in and change anything, or, why is somebody randomly changing something on this guy's Wikipedia page, considering how long ago he died? That just doesn't make that much sense. So it's just interesting to me. It's stuff that I've wondered for a long time, and I don't know. It just makes you wonder. Sam looks this up. Maybe they knew I was going to go look it up, but they were trying to screw me up or something. I don't really know the full answer, but I do know that there's something about Wikipedia that just absolutely doesn't make any sense, and you cannot change things. They instantly change it back. They got people sitting on there all day long, and I don't know. If I could find the video, I'll leave a link to it. There's even the Wikipedia Fact or Fiction, where I made a video about Corey Taylor, the lead singer of Slipknot, and how he said his real name was Corey Todd Taylor, I think is what it was. I can't remember what his middle name was, but he said that that was his real name, and Wikipedia had it wrong, and I changed it. Even cited the video, and then they changed it back. And they even cited the video on that page still. So it doesn't make any sense why they would change it back if that's not his real name or whatever, you know? So I'll look and see if I can find that video. It was from a long time ago. So just interesting. I wanted to point that out. You know, yet another time where Wikipedia does some weird stuff. No reason to even be changing anything on this guy's page. You know, he died, 20 years ago. So anyway, the only other person that Sam wrote about on his blog was this guy, Jason Thirsk, who was the bassist for the band Pennywise, and he also died at the age of 28. And I didn't really see a whole lot of 68 connections with this guy, but I mean, the only connection that just stood out to me right away in regards to 68 was that he died after this album called About Time. And if you write that out in gematria, it equals 56. And remember, 68 equals 56. But the thing that stuck out to me the most in regards to this guy dying was the albums. So he dies after this album called About Time. And then he dies just before the album called Full Circle, right? And I've documented a whole bunch of times how circles are important to time, right? Saturn is the keeper of time. That's why, Saturn has the rings, right? The circles. That's why in the movie Arrival, if you've ever seen it, the aliens come and they try to teach the Earthlings or whatever their language that involves a bunch of rings. And the rings eventually help them understand a different concept of time. So eventually later on in the future, they'll be able to help save these aliens who came to teach them this language, right? This ring language. It's all about time, right? So the circle and time, I'll explain a little bit more in here in a second, but just wanted to point that out. He dies just after an album called About Time, and then the next album's called Full Circle. And the reason that it's so interesting is because his name also in gematria equals 144, and time in Jewish gematria equals 144. And there's 1,440 minutes in a day. I even, on Sam's blog, I commented and I talked about, in Back to the Future, they go 88 miles per hour, which is the four circles, the 2 eighths, the four circles that are made up of 360 degrees. 360 times 4 equals 1,444, like the minutes in a day. And if you write out 4 circles, it equals 69 in gematria, just like Saturn, who is the keeper of time, just like circles. And notice circles also equals 314 in satanic gematria, reminding us of pi, and pi equals 69 as well in gematria. And remember, if you sum the first 144 digits after the decimal of pi, they sum to 666. So interesting, this would be in satanic gematria. Also, if you write out Mark of the Beast in gematria, that equals 144, Lots of interesting things. So just interesting, it's all about time. And when I was writing up this blog post, I was gone earlier. I had to go up and get some groceries and whatever. My dad gave me this $100 gift certificate to the local grocery store, and I wanted to listen to this live stream, but I didn't. But when I came back, I started writing up this blog post, and then I was like, oh crap, I need to turn this live stream back on, and I turned Derek's live stream on that he had Zenith of the Alpha America on. And I didn't even know what the concept of the video was or what they were fully talking about, And basically when I turned this on, right when I turned this on, Derek started talking about circles just as I had retyped in circles in gematria, right? I was on the Gematrinator because I wanted to know what circles was again in gematria, just to reanalyze it. So I typed in circles, And right when I typed in circles, Derek said circle. And I was like, that's pretty weird, you know? And then I went back and re-listened to it, to most of it or whatever, and I guess the whole thing starts and they're talking about circles, but I had no idea of this, right? So it's just some weird thing, like it just randomly happened. I had no idea that that's what he was talking about. That's why it just stands out to me so much. And whenever these synchronicity things happen to me, I always learn a whole bunch more of other things if I just look into it and then start thinking about some other things. But what I noticed in regards to this, so Derek talked about circles right when I turned it on, and then right after he pointed out, or he said something about circles, he pointed out some story about in Washington, there's a traffic circle, and there was a Wendy's there. And it's just interesting because I made a video about Wendy's back in September, and there was all the synchronicity that was going on with it. My band, we played a gig it was on the 261st day of the year, and my drummer, who frequents this place that we were playing at, I mean, I rarely ever go there, but it's like his favorite place ever. His name in gematria equals 261, and this was on the 261st day of the year. The place that we were playing at equals 261 in gematria, and the where we practice is Nelson's Creek Drive that equals 261, and that's where the drummer lives, so his name equals 261, lives on an address that equals 261. His favorite bar that he likes to go to equals 261, and then we played a show there on the 261st day of the year. And I was hungry, and I was going to the show, and the first place that I saw that was open was Wendy's, so I was like, all right, I'm going to go to the drive-thru really quick and get something to eat because I know I'm going to be drinking, probably smoking, whatever. And I went to the drive-thru and I just ordered a couple things off the dollar menu, and I have a blog post on it somewhere, but my total came to $2.61, right? This day all about 261. All of these synchronicity things happening with the number 261. And what's interesting about this that I just discovered in regards to time is our band is called the Punch Clock Martyrs, right? So it even deals with time, like, you know, killing yourself for time, basically, right? And how funny is that? You know, I never put that together back in September. Killing yourself for time. If you write out 144 in gematria, that equals 261, right? And time equals 144. My band name has a connection to, you know, dying to clock in and, you know, go to work every day and waste your life away. Another thing that's interesting is that back when I was talking about this windy stuff, I was talking a lot about the twin symbolism and this connection to Los Angeles and Minneapolis, because my drummer's originally from Los Angeles, and my singer or whatever, he's from, he had lived in Minneapolis for a good amount of time or whatever. So just interesting. Minneapolis, Los Angeles, I've talked about the connections to the Lakers and a bunch of other stuff. We got the Super Bowl coming up in Minneapolis this year, the Twin Cities, right? So what I noticed in regards to circle, though, circle equals 50, and twins equal 50, and my name equals 50. Recently, I've been documenting all kinds of stuff about 50 in regards to the NFL and basketball and a bunch of other stuff. So, and the connections to the Lakers. And we just got this story about Caldwell Pope going to jail or whatever while he's playing. That's connected to Pope Francis, and just a bunch of other stuff that I've talked about. A bunch of synchronicity things that was connected to the Houston Rockets in Houston last year. But anyway, circle 50, twins equal 50. I also put it out, circle equals 260 in satanic, just like twins equals 260 in satanic. And this was on Derek's third live stream called, you know, live stream number 3 featuring Zenith of the Alpha America, right? If you just write out live stream number 3, it equals 314 in reverse, just like pi, right? Or reminding us of pi. And if you write out the whole thing of what it's called, live stream number 3, featuring Zenith of the Alpha America, it equals 263. Well, if you write out 261, it equals 263. So, just interesting stuff. Hopefully I'll make some more videos later tonight, and I'll talk about all this 50 stuff. There's just lots of stuff I've been talking about lately. 2 people that I know, or I used to know, I guess, died on Christmas Eve and I think Christmas Day, or I can't remember the exact days, but it was right around Christmas. They both had ties to the Kansas City Chiefs. Both of their names equal 50. Chiefs equal 50. But if you've been following my blog, and I haven't made a lot of videos, the Chiefs have a whole lot of connections to the Steelers as well, and Pittsburgh equals 50, and Steelers equal 50. And there's seemingly this huge connection to everything that I was talking about in 2015 that it's connected to this year. And I was talking about a whole bunch of stuff in regards to Moses and the Kansas City Chiefs and the Eagles. And it was connected to Super Bowl 50. So, I don't know. Hopefully I'll make some more videos in regards to it. But I noticed that 50 equals 69 in reverse gematria. And if you write out 69 in reverse reduced, it equals 50, interrelated. And also 47 equals 50. Remember, time equals 47 as well in gematria. And, 69 has a connection to Saturn, whatever I just showed up here. Saturn and pi, circles, cycles, circles. And then, of course, somebody commented right after I posted this too, with whatever this is. I don't know who it is. They insinuate that it's Derek leaving this message, but I don't think it is. So if it is, whatever. But they say I do talk about circles a lot, and they capitalize lot, and that equals 47. And I'm pretty sure it's not Derek, because this same big long thing had commented on Sam's blog the other day in regards to his post about the Gematrinator and the movie Pi, which is interesting in itself. And they were, it's not the same. It can't be Derek. I don't think it is. So, just interesting that someone would leave that comment. Capitalized lot that equals 47, which is connected to time. Oh yeah, and this guy from the band Pennywise, Full Circle, also equals 47 in gematria. 47 is that big important number to the Freemasons as well. The compass set at 47 degrees, right? Government, president. I don't know, is White House equal 47? I can't even remember right now. White House, right? Authority, foundation. The Freemasons are, they have a lot to do with Euclid's 47th problem about the, foundation and making the perfect square. So, just interesting that time would equal that, and it's connected to a lot of stuff that's going on with it. So, I know, a long video. Hopefully that makes sense. All my videos are like this anymore. But, you know what? It's stuff that I just kept talking about because I felt like it needed to be shared. And I'm really glad that other people are really sharing the same type of things that I'm talking about. This live stream was really awesome. And the one before was even greater, like Cliff was talking about tutoring a kid who Zach had also tutored, and that's the only person that he had, or only picture of the kid that he tutored in his house. All of these synchronicity things. And it's just something. I was starting to feel like I was the only one there for a while, because I've been talking about this stuff for at least two years, Way back when I first started learning gematria, I was talking about all these syncs to my own life, and I was starting to feel like, man, I can't, am I the only one? And, in this last year, holy cow, it's been awesome. Lots of people have been, showing a lot of cool things in regards to their own life, and how, I've learned a whole lot from it, at least in my opinion of what is truly happening. Talked about forever about some type of world code or whatever else. I don't know exactly what it is or how it all works, but there's absolutely something that is going on that is making all of these things interrelated, and there's always more to understand, and I love hearing other people's stories, and I've learned a ton, so I don't even know. That being said, I think that's all I had to say, so peace out. Have a good one.